Hello, everyone. Today we're going to read 3 chapters in Eerie Elementary. So normally we only do 1 or 2. Today's chapters are kind of short, so we're going to do chapters 10, 11, and 12. All right. Where we left off, Mr. Nakobe had taken Sam into that secret room, and he was telling him a little bit about the school and what was happening, and the fact that Sam was really the only one who could save the school. And he introduced him into to the machine and kind of left Sam in that room by himself. So that's where we left off. So today we're going to start off with chapter 10 called The Machine. You can kind of see the picture of the machine there. All right, chapter 10, The Machine. The giant metal thing was made up of different parts: an old refrigerator, pieces of a vending machine, and banged up lockers. It had a rusty head dotted with 2 splashes of red paint. There were brooms, buckets, and wooden hockey sticks jutting out from it, too. Sam took a deep breath. He was about to step forward when... "Sam!" a voice shouted. Sam spun around. It was Antonio. "Antonio, what are you doing here?" Sam exclaimed. "I followed you, since you've been acting like a total weirdo. I was hiding behind some junk over there," Antonio said. Did you hear everything Mr. Nakobe said?" Sam asked. Antonio nodded. "Did you believe him?" Sam asked. "Not really. I think you're both crazy," said Antonio. Then he walked over to the machine. There was a note taped to the front. Antonio tore it off. Here's the note that was on the machine. The note says, "Sam, this machine will attack you like the school. You must overcome it. This is your training. Good luck, Mr. Nakobe." Antonio smiled and said, "I may not believe you, but I will help you train. This big monster machine thing is awesome." Sam perked up. Having a friend by his side made him feel 1,000 times better. Here's the picture of Sam and Antonio. "Look, there's a switch on the front," Antonio said. He flicked the switch, and the machine came to life. Antonio jumped back. The giant machine charged toward Sam. The top part spun, and a hockey stick lashed out. Sam rolled underneath the hockey stick. He came up behind the machine. The machine's head whirled around. It began shooting tennis balls out from its big round eyes. "Watch out," Antonio said. Sam threw his arm over his face, but the tennis balls knocked him to the ground. So here's the machine attacking Sam. Sam pounded his fist on the cement floor. "This is ridiculous. I don't know how to do any of this," he yelled. Antonio stuck out his hand, quickly helping his friend to his feet. "Try using what's around you." Bashoom! A tennis ball whizzed between Sam and Antonio. Antonio dove behind a nearby trash can. Sam looked around and saw a busted locker door. "Here goes nothing," he thought. Sam grabbed the locker door, held it up like a shield, and ran straight at the machine. The tennis balls bounced off of it. When Sam got close enough, he tossed the door aside and climbed on top of the machine. Then he yanked the electrical cord from its head. The machine rumbled and coughed. Finally, it went silent. Sam hopped down. "Wow," Antonio said, scratching the back of his neck. "Dude, you're kind of awesome right now." Sam turned to his friend, smiling. "But it sounds like this was only the beginning." So here's a picture of Sam defending himself from the machine. Here's a machine with a hockey stick. Chapter 11 is called Something Big. For the next 2 days, Sam and Antonio trained before school, during recess, and after school. Lucy now thought both of her best friends were losing their minds. She wouldn't believe a word they said. Sometimes Mr. Nakobe poked his head in to check on Sam, but the old man didn't do much else. Sam understood that Mr. Nakobe was weak. Now it was Sam's job to protect the school. While Sam was walking home on a Thursday, Mr. Nakobe's words echoed in his head. The school is planning something big. What could the school... Sam's thoughts were interrupted by the feeling of cold fingers on his back. "Eek!" Sam shrieked. He spun around. "Lucy, you scared me." "Did you think it was the school trying to eat you?" Lucy teased. "I don't know what you and Antonio have been doing the past 3 days, but you'd better be ready for tomorrow." "What's tomorrow?" Sam asked. Lucy rolled her eyes. Then she shoved a crumpled up piece of paper into Sam's hands. As Sam read the words, his heart began pounding. The note says, Friday night, 7 p.m. at Eerie Elementary. Miss Grinker's third grade class presents Peter Pan. It all made sense. Sam knew exactly when the school would strike. So the school is probably going to strike whenever the play is going on, because at the bottom of the note it says students, parents, and teachers are all welcome. So there's going to be a lot of people there. All right, chapter 12, the last chapter we're going to do today is called Beasts from Below. It was opening night and the school auditorium was packed. Sam stuck his head through the red curtains and peered out. He saw hundreds of parents and teachers in the audience. He even saw his mom and Lucy's little brother. Students were changing into their costumes backstage. Antonio, as Peter Pan, was wearing green from head to toe, and Lucy wore a red dress as Wendy. Sam pulled Antonio aside. I've got a feeling something really bad is going to happen, he whispered. Maybe we should stop the play. We could tell Miss Grinker. Antonio cut him off. Sam, everyone will think we're crazy. I'm still not sure we aren't. So there's Sam looking out at the audience from backstage. Sam sighed. He knew Antonio was right. Besides, Antonio said, I've got my lucky peanut butter and jelly sandwich in my pocket. What could go wrong? Sam rolled his eyes. Lucky sandwich. Before Sam could say anything else, the lights dimmed. The audience went quiet. The play was about to start. Lucy rushed over. She pulled Antonio toward the stage. Wish us luck, Sam, she whispered as she and Antonio marched out on stage. Sam sighed. Good luck. 2 hours later, Sam was smiling from ear to ear. He couldn't believe it. The play was actually going okay. Lucy was saying her lines perfectly, Antonio made an awesome Peter Pan, and the audience was clapping a ton. Maybe he had been worried for nothing. The next scene was the most exciting part of the play, the big finish. Antonio and Lucy were strung up on wires high above the stage like they were flying. So here comes the big finish. Let's see what's going to happen. Sam, Mrs. Grinker said, it's your turn on stage. Oh, right, Sam muttered. He stepped out into the spotlight and began to say his lines. I am Noodler, Captain Hook's friendly pirate, and I order you to... Sam stopped. He felt something move below his feet. Picture says, rumble, rumble, rumble. With horror, Sam realized the school had been waiting for him. Now that he was on stage, the school was coming to life. This was it. There were some whispers in the audience. People thought Sam had just forgotten his lines, but Sam didn't care about the lines. He cared about what he saw next. A trap door in the floor was opening. From up high, Lucy and Antonio saw it too. The trap door was opening wider and wider. It was like the wooden stage was suddenly made of rubber. So the floor is falling apart underneath him. Sam's heart pounded as he looked down into the darkness below. There he saw the true terror. Beneath the stage, hundreds of metal folding chairs were opening and closing like a set of giant, jagged teeth. So it's kind of hard to see, but that hole in the stage is like a big mouth with a bunch of teeth. And high above this hungry mouth, Antonio and Lucy were dangling on their wires. They were about to be eaten alive. Chomp, chomp, chomp. So there they are, hanging up above the big hole. We'll have to wait. Chapter 13 is called Worm Mouth. We're going to see what happens there. Okay, so like before, I've got a short little journal entry for you. So hopefully you've been doing your journals as we have been reading this book. So once we get to come back to school, you're going to bring your journal with you. So we're on the next page of your journal. My screen should be popping up for you now. So don't skip any pages. Just go on to the next page. We've been trying to keep our notebook organized where we're writing the date at the top and working on both sides of the page, front and back. So today is Wednesday, September 2nd. Today's title is Eerie Elementary, chapters 10 through 12. So you're going to write the date at the very, very top of the page and then go down to the first line and where it says, and you're going to write the title, which is Eerie Elementary, and you're going to write chapters 10 through 12. All right, so like always, you're going to write 3 to 5 sentences in your journal. Remember, you're going to write capital letters at the beginning, finger spaces in between your words, and periods at the end. Today, the first 2 sentences are just fill in the blanks. So if you need to stop my video and pause it so you can copy down my sentences, you can. The first fill in the blank sentence, you're going to write out the whole sentence, but the first fill in the blank says, this story is being told from blank point of view. So whose point of view is this story being told from? Is it being told from Mr. Nakobe's? Is it being told from Sam's, Antonio's, or maybe the school? So whose point of view is it being told from? Like, who's the narrator? Who's the person that's kind of telling us what's happening? Whose brain are we inside? That's how I always remember it. Like, whose brain are we inside whenever we're reading the book? All right, so that's the first sentence. So write it out and fill in the blank. The next one says, I wish this story would have been told from blank's point of view. All right, so we already know, or you should have already written down whose point of view it actually is being told from. Who do you wish the story would have been told from? Like, whose point of view should it have been told from? Would it have been cooler if it was changed? So pick someone else and say whose point of view you wish it would have been told from. And the last question, this one's kind of fun. It says, how would the story have been different? So if the story would have been told from the school's point of view, how would it have been? How would the story or the book been different? Or maybe Mr. Nakobe's point of view. Whoever you chose in this sentence here, how would the story have been different? Would it have been told through that person's eyes or that person's point of view? Okay. All right. That is the book and the journal entry today. So go ahead and make sure you write that down in your journal so you can stay on track with us. And I will see you all soon. Bye.